This is modern homesteading.
Today I've had a windfall, and it's a big one.
Before I start milling, I got to determine which roll of the log, which is going to be the flattest, which is going to give us the greatest yield. So we'll cut off the branches now and roll it around and check and see if we can determine what's going to give us the highest yield. So I rolled this around and determined that this is the flattest side. This is what's going to be easiest to make our first cuts. So let's strip off the bark and start getting set up for the chainsaw mill. It's a good idea to remove the bark on your trees before you're running your chainsaw mill. Reason being is the chainsaw mills are take a special chain, a ripping chain, that's a little bit difficult. It's more expensive to buy and a little bit difficult to sharpen. So you want to maintain that edge as long as possible. The problem with cutting through the bark is it usually holds a lot of dirt and rocks, and it's a real quick way to dull your saw. Also, if you're felling with a crosscut saw, of course we know that those are, as I like to call them, a national treasure. We want to keep those sharp, so you would always strip your bark away from that before you made your cut through, just to make it last a little bit longer. You can strip the bark on trees lots of different ways. This is going to come off pretty easy off this ponderosa because it has been dead for a while and it's just loose and wanting to fall off on its own. But I'm going to use a bark tool called a bark spud here with the short handle on it. This is one I made myself from some scrap. Actually, the socket portion of it was a gift given to me by my good friends and subscriber Fempaws. This was kind of an old concrete mixing hoe, and I just cut that off and made this out of a piece of spring steel and put an edge on it. I've got a video on that if you'd like to watch it, but that's what I'm going to be using today. Another reason to get the bark off is it draws insects. So if you're going to have some trees that are down for a while before you can get to them, strip the bark off. This log's pretty heavy and it wants to roll towards me here, so we don't want it to rolling over and crushing us or shifting while we're working on it. So I got a round of fire with a handle on it, and we'll PV this over and chalk this up underneath there to keep it from rolling on us. When you're working by yourself, you need to always think about ways you can get the job done by using tools at your disposal. The most important cut when you're chainsaw milling is the first cut. Everything depends on that, how flat you get it. If you have a flat first cut, then the rest of your cuts will be flat as well. It's like the foundation on a house. If you start with a crooked foundation, it just transfers the mistakes to everyone and just makes everyone's job miserable. So you can use lots of different things. I'm just using a piece of scaffolding right here. You can use a ladder, you can use boards on nails. I've showed several different examples in past videos on how to do this. I typically like an extension ladder the best. The one that I've used belongs to my father, and he needed it back, so I'm just kind of making do with what I have here, and I had a piece of scaffolding. So I've just taken my cordless drill and just leveled it and put some heavy decking screws through to secure it, making sure that it's level on both ends, and now we got a nice flat guide for our first cut. You want to get in the habit of keeping your chainsaw bar oil and gas full before you start a job, especially those of you guys that are falling trees. You might need that, whoops, that's the wrong one. You might need that extra bit of run time in a bad situation to get something to fall or cut someone out, who knows. And you always want to start with a full saw there, and don't put the bar oil in, or gasoline in the bar oil there. Chainsaws require a bar oil so that you see here in the, it's usually always in the front, that lubricates the chain on the bar, keeps it from burning up. And of course the mix, two-stroke mix, goes in the back. These should run down, most saws, about the same time. You can adjust how much oil comes out on the bar, but usually 1 to 1. So from my initial cut, I just set my depth here at about 4 inches. We'll make a cut and see if we need 6-inch material, so we'll see if that will give us enough room. I think it will. We might have to recut it, but it's a good place to start. I wanted to do a quick product endorsement for a product that I love. This is something that I used years and years before I even heard of YouTube, and it's the Grizzly Peak Enterprises scabbard system. Of course, you guys all know this one, my leather lined one that I've used for years, but I contacted Grizzly Peak and just told them I was out looking for a custom sheath on a project I was working on, and he sent me this wedge holder. You can see right there, and I really like it. I used to use the leather Fowler's wedge holder, but this one is better. It's much more compact. It doesn't flop around. And he also sent me this nice belt with all the rings in it, and the suspender system you saw me use in the Back to Basics video, and I'll be showing that with you, or to you, in future videos. But if you're looking for a good axe sheath that just really makes it accessible, easy in and easy out quickly without any snaps or buttons or anything, there's nothing better than this, and they're durable. I'll attest to that. And you can see here's his phone number, Grizzly Peak Enterprises in Smelterville, Idaho. It's funny, just a couple days ago I received an email from, I think it was his daughter, thanking me for supporting her dad, and she told me that her dad makes all these by hand, one at a time, and puts a lot of pride and effort into them, and it shows by design and by build and by durability. So I'm a huge fan of anything from Grizzly Peak. Subscriber Tack Driver 22 sent me a message on 2.0 complaining that the videos were too short. He said 35-45 minutes would be gold. I have tried that in the past, and people just don't like to sit through videos that long, or most people don't. So the other thing is that it's almost impossible for me to upload videos of that length with the satellite connection I have. So I guess the solution to that is to wait until the whole project's done and then watch it at one time, but that's not very realistic. Americans don't like waiting. It's abhorrent to us, so you'll just have to take what you get. If you'd like to watch the video on the forging the bark spud, you can look at that, click on that to the top left here, and that'll link you right over there. I think that's a 2 or 3 part series, so I'll put that in a playlist for you. Again, I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you are subscribed, please take a moment and click the thumbs up. It shows me a lot of support and helps support the channel, and I really appreciate it. So we'll see you in 4.0.